Today we are helping player Finter with this cool mill that he made named Gipper. And Gipper has the ability to leap and jump, but is unable to stay up. It ain't going to count as leaping and jumping as long as it's lying on the ground with legs flailing. So let's see what we can discover here before we decide to make any changes. Okay, so I'm going to look at the rewards that this body is currently getting. It's getting the most distance reward, which makes sense because it's like able to kind of just like fling its body around. It's getting a good amount of height reward. And I'm curious about that because its head tends to stay pretty low. Let me start it upright and see what happens. Well, maybe it's just like getting more height than it is orientation, which is probably a reward that we want to see come up. So orientation means that the head is staying in an untilted position, right? So anytime it falls over, then it's going to not get orientation. So I think that's one of the first things we're going to want to do here. Another thing that I notice is that the legs have a lot of range of motion. So I think that is going to be something worth looking at. So let's edit the mill. And I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to not change too many things all at once. I'm going to dial up the height. No, sorry, I didn't mean height. Undo. I'm going to dial up orientation. Okay. And then I want to look at the stop rewards and see what's going on here. Sometimes when I'm trying to debug stop rewards, I try to just choose one of them, whichever one seems like the most important. So dip below means like not wanting the head to get, like if you have like a really loose body and you want to keep it from just kind of like collapsing, then that's something to use. Do not tip speaks to whether it's going to fall to the side or the front. And then do not contact ground is obvious. Okay, so what I'm going to focus on here is do not tip. And let me tell you why, because this is a tall, skinny body. And so like basically, I think the reason that it's ending up on the ground is because it's hard for it to stay upright. So if we give it a stop reward, then that means anytime it falls, right now it's set to 60 degrees. So anytime it falls beyond here, it does not get any rewards at all. And Mells really care about this because they're like shameless min-maxers. They're like, I want the most points on every single turn. And so if it tips beyond a certain point, like if it gets to here, it's a 0-point turn. And that's bad. They hate that. And so they will like, if they can get their body to avoid it, then they will. I think right now they're avoiding so many things. I'm going to turn these off. And then I'm even going to, if you think about it, I try to set the range to like the point at which it's beyond recovery, right? So if this Mel tips to here, ain't no way it's getting back up again, like it's turnover. So I'm going to say maybe here is the point at which I think it could maybe like still pull itself together. So I'm going to set it to like 30. Okay, so we've got orientation dialed up, so that's going to get it to try to keep its head from tipping. We've got do not tip, which is going to get it to try to keep its body from tipping. And then I like to set the range to just like 30 to begin with, something pretty tight. And then I can look at it and see where the Mel is using that range and where it's just kind of like wasted effort. And let me say a little bit about why I do that while we wait. This is a counterintuitive thing because you think like, oh, okay, so Mel's are going to try 100 million times to like get rewards, right? And I've told it to stay upright. I've told it not to tip. So I'm just going to give its body like lots of range so that it can figure out what's the best way to do that. Unfortunately, what that means is that it spends a lot of those 100 million tries doing something that doesn't work. And so they actually train way better when you can figure out where to rein them in, because then it keeps them from just like trying stuff that's going to fail. I don't know why. I'm a game designer, not an animator. So I don't know why tighter ranges tend to work better. I've just noticed that they do. And so I tend to use them now. Okay, I'll come back in a sec. Still training, but already I can see that the smell is upright, and that pleases me. That's what I want. So the tighter, more focused stop reward plus the orientation reward seem to be doing that. Now, is it leaping and jumping? Not exactly. I kind of like to look at, okay, I gave it 30 range for all the joints. Is it using the range that I gave it? No, it's not even using what I've given it yet. And I'm going to make some guesses as to why. My guess is that basically it does not want to trigger the hit reward under all costs. And so basically if anything it tries, its best way for it to maximize its reward right now is to stay conservative. So I want to try to use tuning rewards to push it toward a little more like effort, and a little less caution. Because The stop reward is definitely getting its attention, but almost too well. And I'd like to see it being a little braver. Interestingly enough, the reward that it's getting the most of right now is hit reward, which is super weird. So hit reward is basically what it gets. Like, okay, so if I put down a waypoint, hit reward is what it gets when it arrives at the waypoint. So let me say a little bit more about this over here. So distance is what it gets as it moves toward the waypoint, and hit target is what it gets if it's exactly on the waypoint. So it's like if it tries and 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 never gets near the waypoint itself, it gets nothing. If it tries and tries and tries and happens to move in the direction of the waypoint, then it's like bing, 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 you get distance reward, right? So often when it comes to just like wanting a mel to move at all, I focus more on distance and less on hit target. Hit target, because you only get it if you arrive exactly on the waypoint, then it has a behind the scenes multiplier that's like really high. So if you picture that like distance gives it like breadcrumbs of reward for each step it takes, then like hit target is like a pot of gold, you know? So I think that's why we're seeing such high results on that. I'm not even gonna have it care about hit target right now. Distance, I don't know. I think we want height to be dialed. Direction is whether it's facing the target as it moves toward it. I'm going to care less about that. Distance, I would like to see it leaping, probably. I don't know exactly what Finter's going for, so I'm making some guesses here. And joint range, I'm not going to loosen up until I see that it's even using the bit that it has. So let's just try that little bit and see what happens. Okay, he's getting a little hoppier. I mean, it's not like the leaps and bounds that perhaps Finter was going for. I'm almost inclined to see if we can dial orientation down and have height be more dominant and see if that has a good impact. So let's just have it so that like height is like its main deal in life. You know, I feel like if it really gets to jumping, then distance will come, probably. Again, I'm still not seeing it use the range that it has, so I'm going to ignore that for now. I think I'm liking the basic stop reward. So I just want it to take more risk, and I want its risk to come in the form of jumping. So let's see if we can just like, just give it like a teeniest bit of direction. It's like a sliver of orientation and height. Do height, please. Oh, wait, direction. I don't care. Distance, just a little bit. Okay, good. So teeny bit of distance, like a bit of orientation, and like height, please. Height, do height. Okay, let's see what that does. Okay, it's getting a bit jumpy, but I'm seeing one more thing I want to try already. I'm just curious what'll happen if we give it more range, in particularly these two joints, because it seems like that's its limb that wants to like really push off to get great height. And then I might go even crazier on having it focus exclusively on height, just to see if it can care about getting points some other way than being just tall. You know, it's like, don't just be tall. You want to be tall and like leaping. So let's try that. This is probably going to be my last change before kind of like can geek out on this stuff for a little long. I'm going to set these to 60, and then I am going to see what it does and then probably pass it back. Let's just set this orientation. Let's just bring it down to 0.1. And distance 0.1. I don't know. It's worth a try. I think we got somewhere. So that's a jumpier version. I'm going to pass this back to Finter and see where they want to go with it next. But that's closer to a jumpy version of Gipper. All right. Hope that helps.